Hey everyone, it's Tori Nook, founder and principal of Anchor Retail here in Cleveland and Columbus. And as y'all know, I've been doing a video series. This will be the first one I'm doing actually for my home office. So if you're seeing a different background, that's why. And I am interviewing today Jolie T. Fox. She is the founder of the CRE Pipeline. And this is a fantastic group. She started a few years ago, and I'm going to have her get into more detail about it. And she's the next new, powerhouse interview that I'm doing in regards to amping up commercial real estate, showing women on a bigger stage, how to get them more involved in commercial real estate, how to also make them more successful in commercial real estate, whether they're lawyers, whether they're leasing agents, developers, they're in marketing, they're brokers, and the list goes on. So, Julie, welcome and thank you for taking the time today to sit with me to talk about the CRE pipeline and how we could get more women in this group.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks, Tori, for having me on. Happy to always talk about the pipeline, especially as we're growing nationally, so that we can reach pockets of women that don't know about our group yet.
Yes. So, I obviously just joined. I knew about it a couple years ago through, from meeting Beth Azor when back in, I think, December 2022, she told me about it and I went to your first event in like 2023 in New York City, when you had it. It was downtown. It was in the, kitchen.
In the decor showroom.
Yes, that was really fun.
Yes, that was probably to kick off New York ICSC, and it was probably on. Beth was moderating a panel for us on women who invest in real estate, right?
Right, right. It was great and the guests, and it was a really great intimate environment. And I think coming from the Midwest for me, being in Cleveland, Ohio, like I didn't realize on the East Coast, just there's a lot of women like more for me than here that I was shocked. And that's just, again, who knew you, right?
Right.
Like who grew. What I was thinking is in regards to it, of course, after, I joined, what I like about it is when, I've been in the business for 25 years and I could have only wished I had a group like this when I started. I mean, because when I started in brokerage, I'm like the lone wolf. There's like one other girl at my office. I knew a couple, women who were leasing agents. I knew like two attorneys that were women, one banker, and that was it. And that was kind of like the norm for a really long time. And I just had it was like a sink or swim type of environment 25 years ago. That was like before podcasts, before social media, before a lot of things. And I had zero support. My support was from, the woman in my office, the woman outside of my office, the leasing agent I know, but we're all leading like super busy lives too. And like they can only provide so much. Where what I like about the CRE pipeline, now that we're in an advanced, day and age, you have an app, which is awesome. You could talk 24 hours on it, just like
Yeah.
any app if you're part of any community. And then you have access to all the contacts, all the women in there as well. But then what I like is how you have like the monthly get-togethers on
Yeah.
Zoom, the functions, right?
Yeah. So
I like
you
you
want me to
talk.
kind of explain to everybody that assuming they don't know anything, like
Mhm.
just kind of who we are
Yeah,
and all of it?
yeah,
So yeah, I completely agree with you. When I started in the business, especially in brokerage, and switched from property management to brokerage, I didn't have a lot of support either. And it would have been nice at that time to have someone I could just pick up the phone like yourself and be like, hey, how do I do this and do that? Right. So that
right.
didn't really exist. And that was really one of the main reasons why Courtney and I wanted to start the pipeline back in 2016, was because we really wanted to just have a group for women in retail real estate to be able to support each other and to help each other.
Yeah,
That was really the main goal, is that it's relationship driven. It's not just transaction, right? Sometimes we go to these organizations or these networking events and it's like, here's my business card, let's transact. But it was really, the intent is really focused on building long-term relationship. And of course, we're in the business that, people do business with people they like. So, right. So we just want to kind of be a conduit for women to be able to meet and connect. And we started just doing in-person regional events in Philly, South Jersey, and then it started to grow. So now, I'm sure as you know, we're up to 9 regions. So we have regions in Boston, New York, North Jersey, Central Jersey, Philly, the DMV, California, Dallas, and hopefully we'll be launching in the Midwest soon as we get more women. So those are opportunities where women can connect and see each other throughout the year, at the local events.
hmm
And like what you were saying, we also have the virtual platform where there's the virtual lunch and learn every month where there's a different topic, and whether it's on investing or how to prepare yourself for C-level suite, that women all over the country come on and, can learn and share. I'm actually excited. We've been averaging probably about 50 to 60 women on these virtual lunch and learn now.
Yeah, they're pretty big.
It's really grown. I remember one where we had Lauren Holden come on, and she was talking about her journey to the C-level suite, and it was very, like, informative, insightful. And then the one coming up for this month is, like, what I call the connection hour, where break it up into breakout sessions, and women can join different rooms and chat and get to know each other and how they can help each other. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
haven't done that yet. That'll be
Yeah. And then in addition to that, there's 3 specialty subgroups that we currently have. One is obviously the investment club that we started with the help of Beth Azor a couple of years ago. And now we're up to about 30 women in that investment club. And the goal is really to help women to be more educated, learn about investing, look at pro formas, how to structure partnerships, and then hopefully even look at deals together to invest together. So that's been really, really good. And then there's the landlord leasing subgroup that we have, and we have landlords from all over the country, private and public, that we come on monthly and talk about trends and things we're seeing. And then there's also a retailer subgroup that Brooke Cabrera helps us to lead. And I think right now we're up to about 60 retailers in that subgroup in the pipeline.
that I didn't even realize you had that many. That's amazing.
Yeah, when Brooke joined a couple of years ago, I told her we've had the landlord leasing group now for 7 years, and it's great. Like I get together with landlords and we talk about things that affect us, but always wanted to see a retailer subgroup just for retailers. So she has grabbed that vision and ran with it, and now it's grown to almost 60, 65 retailers just in a few years. It's amazing.
That is amazing because I think it also goes to show too, like how many more women are in the industry too. And when you look at I mean, this, I mean, you see the numbers every year just alone, how your group has grown,
Mhm.
what, about 7 years. And then even with the investment sale portion and the women in that, then you've got all the landlord reps, which there's a lot. And then you've got this, I didn't realize it was 65 women in retail. And that's not even all the women in retail. And what I like is too, is when you're in these subgroups, you can discuss anything you want, whether it's what's going on during your job or whether you want to find another job. And that's something that the networking with CRE Pipeline gives you. And it's obviously for free, right? I mean, it's not a cold call to somebody, it's a warm call to someone. And that warm call can lead to the next and the next and the next, to help you advance yourself in this world, right?
Right. So just to use the app as an example, since you mentioned the app, that was something that was a kind of a brainchild of mine, because towards the end of the year, I noticed we were obviously getting women joining from all over the country, whether it was the Midwest or the South or Florida, and we didn't have a region with the pipeline yet in those particular markets. But how I thought to myself, how can I get women like Tori, who's in the Midwest, to
Mhm.
be connected to other women besides just once a month, joining the virtual lunch and learn? That's great, right? But how can I have it where it really increases engagement? And so that's where the idea of the app really came, was like, if we have the app now that we've launched it, we have different chat rooms for different regions, and even regions that are in process to start, right? People can begin to talk. And then we even have different chat rooms for different sectors. So now we have a brokers network group, we have a chat room, we have a job announcements posting chat room. Like, so, and it's been really awesome to see even some of the women who've said that they found jobs or connected for employment, even through.
Yeah, no, that's like an awesome point because another thing too is I don't even think really with what you've created. I mean, this vision, you and Courtney created this vision. I don't really think there's really anything else out there like it. Like, because for me, I remember when I was just starting the business, the only tool that I had to grow myself and me, branding myself, being out there was really through ICSC Next Generation, and that was obviously men and women in it
Yeah.
to get yourself out there to be known.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the things that I always tell the women, because some of them are obviously part of other organizations like Crew or Wire, and I say, look,
Okay.
there's rooms and opportunities to be part of both. I think what really differentiates us from Crew, for example, is Crew is co-ed, and Crew also is women in commercial real estate. So we're
Right.
very focused on just women in retail real estate. So whether we have if we do have, obviously, besides landlords,
Mhm.
retailers, if we have service providers like architects, engineers, attorneys, so forth, they have to at least touch retail real estate. And that's just because a lot of our content for virtual lunch and learn, the people we're trying to network and meet are in retail real estate. So we've gotten a lot of women who've expressed interest who don't touch retail real estate. And unfortunately, in order to stay true to the vision of what we're trying to do, we've kind of had to turn them away and say, this is not necessarily the group for you since we're so retail focused.
Right, and that's actually a good point about even adding on. I'm thinking if we missed anyone that's just retail only focused, that's beyond brokers, attorneys, leasing agents, developers.
We've got asset managers, we've got lenders, we've got folks who do title, attorneys, yeah, acquisitions.
Okay, because I
I think
feel
we
like
get
I
brokers.
make a plug for this. So now that everyone heard the list of what your profession could be and that it's related to commercial, retail, real estate, our shopping center, industry, restaurant industry world, if you're in the Midwest and especially in Ohio, please reach out to Jolie or to me because we're trying to get more than the 7 people in the state of Ohio in this group. And I know I've reached out to a lot of women. I do thank the ones that have joined because I know we're over 7 now. We're probably, but still, I mean, I know there's a couple dozen that we could probably even, in my opinion, at some point be up to 100. But I mean, we definitely could get at least, I think, 3 dozen people, hopefully out of this call that'll consider, joining here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we just launched Northern California this past year and they had a really strong launch. And what we did now to kind of simplify the onboarding process for everybody is just to if there's a group like within your region, like Midwest, for example, that are interested, we can just do like, for example, one Zoom interest meeting. And
Okay.
then in there, I'm explaining the vision, the mission, what we're all about, what we're doing, answering any questions. And then Stephanie's usually on as well and just giving clear direction on what the next steps are, which is, if somebody's interested after the Zoom meeting. So those have been really, really successful. Believe it or not, back in the day, I used to do one-on-one calls with pretty much everyone that joined the pipeline.
But
Now that we're actually probably getting at least 5 to 10 women per week expressing
great.
interest and reaching
Good.
out, that has obviously gotten to the point where we now have to kind of streamline it and maybe just do a group interest meeting. But
Right.
yeah.
Right. And explain who Stephanie is too, because I know we're talking because we know
Sure.
her. But like,
Sure. So Stephanie Harris is, I like to say, Stephanie's my right hand. I'm so thankful for Stephanie. She was in the business for over 40 years, 4 decades. She was a landlord, retailer, and a broker, and then she retired. And now she's in her retirement time giving back to helping advance women and women initiatives in our industry by literally being part of the welcome team for us and helping to onboard everyone that becomes a member of the pipeline. So she's the one that once someone expresses interest after we do the call, they'll be in communication with Stephanie to get
yeah.
the email, the welcome, the instructions of what they need to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's been very, very amazing to work with and getting everyone launched and involved and helping, navigate obviously the app. I mean, like anything, once you do it, it's super, super simple. It's dummy proof. Because just so everyone knows in the audience here that when you Google the pipeline, you will find it, but you can't, it talks about us, but you do have to have an interview to get in. It's
Yes.
not like a click of a button and you're just signing up.
Correct. So let's say somebody saw the podcast today and they're like, "Oh, I'm interested. What are my next steps?" They would either shoot myself or you an email expressing interest. Then we would set up let's just say, an initial call, and that could be one-on-one with either Stephanie or myself, or that would be in a group interest meeting. We'll give you all the information. After that, if you're still interested, then Stephanie will follow up, send you an email for you to complete your bio form because we have a directory. So we ask everybody to complete their bio so that all the members have access to the directory. You then would get a link to click for the app as well as to pay the membership fee, which is just $100 per year. And that's to help us cover our administrative costs. And once somebody does that, those 3 steps, they're officially a member of the pipeline and they are added to all of our email blasts. They're in the app and they have full benefits as a member.
Right. Right.
So yeah,
That's because I think a lot of people, that's their biggest thing is they keep thinking they're going to the website and then they get a little lost, but it's really
right.
those three steps.
Yes. So if they go to our website, www.pipelineladies.com, they'll see my contact information on there. And then once they click it and send me an email, that's when it starts the process for them.
And
Yeah.
it's very easy too to fill out like your bio. I mean, you really could cut and paste your LinkedIn bio there.
It
Yeah,
literally takes I tell
our
everybody
company website.
it takes less than 5 minutes. It
Yeah.
takes less than 5 minutes to complete and send it back to Stephanie, and then she sends you the like, she's on top of it, she's very quick. Yeah, and so that's what I think has been the question with some folks who have attended, obviously, our events and really, like, our large signature events, like in Vegas or New York, they've gone to our events. So we do these big signature events because obviously it's for us as members to be able to connect, but it's also a good marketing tool to bring awareness to the overall industry, who we are. So it's a two-pronged thing. But until somebody kind of goes through that whole process, they're not officially a member. They're more than welcome to still attend our event, right? Like our signature event, but they're not an official member. So they wouldn't have access to the directory. They wouldn't have access to the app, the virtual lunch and learns, invitation to the subgroups. So they wouldn't have any of those reap any of those benefits or be able to take advantage of it.
Right. And that's a really good point to bring up too, is two things about the big signature events, which is the New York ICSC in December. And then when we have our Vegas show in May, those are co-ed events. Those are the only two events that are co-ed, period. And
Yes.
it's really, like you said, to get the branding, to have a lot of them are the sponsors too, and to get it out there, like the word out. And I mean, those are huge, huge events. I don't know how many hundreds of people you have at them, but maybe I'd love for you to talk about how they're both staged, like especially the New York one was. I love it. I can't wait every year for it because you have like the best retailers there speaking.
Thank you. So funny enough, the Vegas brunch has evolved from what it used to be 7, 8 years ago when we first started. It used to be 15, 20 women that would come together and have brunch, and it was great. Then over the years, as the pipeline grew, it grew. And then at some point, before we made it co-ed 3 years ago, we were up to about 50 women for brunch. And
Okay.
then after that, I'm a firm believer in getting feedback from my group and team. So one of the feedback that I asked the women was, how do you think we can improve on what we're already doing? What would you like to see differently? And some of the feedback I had received was, maybe opening it up to having, men as well, because at these big conventions, we love to connect with everyone. And so we said, sure, let's try it. So we did it 2 years ago, opened it up to the men. The men, not as many men knew, obviously, that now they could attend the women's pipeline brunch. So we didn't
Yeah,
get as many men, but this past year we had about 200 people attend the brunch reception, and we probably had about 70% women, 30% men.
for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely grown. And that one is just pure just networking. We realized when people come to Vegas, they just want to connect with people that maybe
Yeah.
they've seen on the screen at the
Right.
virtual lunch and line. They want to be able to like talk to them. The New York event has evolved as well over the years. These last 2 years, we were able to do it at Samsung, which was a great
Yeah.
venue
Great
for
venue.
us. And we were able to do content. We found that for the New York ICSC, a lot of our attendees enjoyed the content. So we did the retail runway where we had retailers talking about their expansion plans. And last year, we added a developer showcase. So we had different developers talking about their projects. What's going to be interesting this year, and I'm glad we're doing this podcast now, is that we are looking for a new venue to actually host our New York event. And so we're reaching out to our network, the women in the group, to see if there's anyone they know that might want to be a host sponsor, where they'll have 150, 200 commercial real estate people in their space. So that's where we kind of actually currently are right now.
Interesting. Well, I have some ideas.
Perfect. So yes, we're looking for a great landlord or nice law firm or whoever that has great
I was
in
thinking
New
of
York
like
City.
a
Yeah.
landlord that I know there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. And then I guess lastly, how are you? Because I obviously we're both huge on LinkedIn. You have the pipeline, all the events are posted on LinkedIn. Definitely follow there. And then where else are the best venues to follow, like social media, like venue, like what's going on in the pipeline?
Yeah, so probably the best is to definitely follow me on LinkedIn. I post pretty much almost all of our events that are open, not only just for our members, but to the public. And then obviously we have Instagram, we have IG, so, Pipeline Ladies as well on there. You can follow that. And then also, obviously, our website. So we're trying to keep our website more updated. That'll show events that are happening as well.
Right. And I just want to reiterate the pipeline's website is www.pipelineladies.com.
Yes.
just so people know. And obviously that's your Instagram handle too.
Yeah. I mean, that is if you're a non-member. If you are a member of Pipeline, obviously on the app, we're
Yeah.
posting, each region is posting what events they're having. And that's the benefit of being a member.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then do you want to tell everyone your email address too? So if they want to reach out to you via email now, they have it.
Sure. You can use my J as in Julie, T as in Tom, T as in Tom. So jtt@gmail.com.
And Julie will hook you up and it'll be one of the I'd say after I being a member of ICSC, which is obviously vitally important if you're in the retail industry, you have to be in there. But if you're a woman in real estate in retail real estate, that our group, Julie's group, is the one to be in because I also want to mention too, what's nice is with your monthly calls is something like I would have loved to have had, but right before Vegas, our call was all focused about Vegas, how to prepare for it, what to do. There's so many girls, no matter women, no matter what age range, all had questions, all had good insight, all had good tips about all different stuff. So, like,
Yeah.
if you're a newbie, especially if you're like the only girl at the office, you have all these amazing women who can answer any question. You don't feel weird.
Yeah. And it exactly, that's why we do a know before you go and we dive in because I know ICIC does a
Yeah.
great job with their know before you go, but we
Yeah.
dive into, like, what kind of shoes to wear, what not to wear, what to wear at a pool party, what you shouldn't really wear, do dinners versus, attending a party. Like, we go into things that we would face as women attending a convention.
Exactly. And I think like so yeah, I can't stress enough like it's not just business, like
Right.
meaning doing transactional business, but it's also learning how to really be a professional woman in the business and have the right support around you to build you whether it's your self-esteem to build your knowledge to build, just to even inspire you to take your career to the next step and also to inspire other people as well to get involved, get in the industry, take the next steps to, where they want to be.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I love about our group and the culture that we've just built is that it's very collaborative, right? So whether
Very.
someone is calling me or reaching out because they have a question like, okay, who reps this person, right? That's business related. But on another breath, I might get a call that says, hey, I'm thinking about making a switch. I need some career advice or, can you help, since you've been through it? Or, I'm feeling burned out, and like self care. What does that look like, especially being in this business? And maybe they're a mom and a mother and all the other roles that we are as women in this business as
That's
well.
a good
So
point.
it's nice to be able to have that support. And I know I've received it myself, even from the women in my group when I've in the group when I've needed it, whether it's mental support, physical support, emotional support. It's just great to know that there's other
Right.
women out there that are willing to help.
They are. And I mean, there's not one person I've cold called people I don't know but know of, or someone told me to call. And everybody I've spoken to is so helpful. They talk like you've always known them. You don't have to worry about like I think what a lot of women like what we deal with a lot is people talking down to you like, oh, you didn't know that? Or like you go through that sometimes,
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
gonna get it in this arena here.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. And it's nice. I've had a lot of women say like, "Oh wow, like if it wasn't for the pipeline or if I hadn't met her like through the pipeline, I don't know if we would have met." And now we've become friends. Like
Yeah.
we're hang out beyond just business, but we're actually friends. So
Yeah.
that's what it was all about. That was the reason for it when we started it.
Yeah. Well, this was awesome. And I really appreciate you taking the time to talk and everyone who's listening too. I hope more women get involved and reach out. Again, if you're in the Midwest, give me a shout. My email address is tnook at anchorretail.com, anchorretail.com. And also reach out to Julie as well. Hopefully we'll just take this to the next level and get a couple hundred more people by next year.
We are on an aggressive expansion. So yeah, I would be surprised.